Here's the SwiftUI MVVM app we're building, an events list app that navigates smoothly between screens. The best part, you'll start to understand MVVM in SwiftUI so clearly that you can start adding your own features right away after this video. In this first part, we'll set up the MVVM structure, create our event model, and connect it to SwiftUI view so we can display real data instantly. Let's dive in. Open Xcode, create a brand new SwiftUI project, and we'll start to build the foundation of the entire app series. Welcome to iOS Insights, the channel for iOS app development using SwiftUI and Swift. Don't forget to subscribe for more Swift and SwiftUI tutorials. In this tutorial, we'll be focusing on the remote image view. The purpose of the remote image view is to enable images to be downloaded asynchronously from a remote URL, such as this image here is seen in this picture. So this is the actual view we'll be creating that includes the image. The first thing we need to do is to create a new SwiftUI view. Name the view remote image view. Since we are not using previews, we can delete the preview on line 16 to 18. And then type in the following. So the remote image view needs a URL that contains the location of the image to be displayed on the view. And we also need a placeholder image, which is type image. And the purpose of the placeholder image is to display a placeholder whilst the image is being downloaded, or if loading fails, it will display a placeholder. For example, image cannot be displayed or downloaded. We also need an @state property variable that's called loading or loaded image, which is optional. Missed out a bar. The next thing we need to do is to create our actual image view within a Z stack. So Z stack if let loaded image. So what that means, if the image has already been loaded, that means we have an image that can be displayed. So it's not nil. Loaded image dot resizable scale to fit. That should be scale to fill. And the purpose of using scale to fill is to fill the space, preserving the aspect ratio. Else, we need to display that the image is being downloaded. This is where we use our placeholder, resizable, scale to fill, on a pair, and then we call the method load image, which we haven't created. We need to create it now. That's the name of the method. The purpose of the method load image is to load the image when the view appears. So when this view appears, the one that we're working on at the moment, the image would be displayed here. So the called load image method that I'll create now, and then the image would be displayed here, if it can be retrieved from the server, or here, an image would be displayed if there's an error. Private func load image guards let URL string equals URL string. Let URL equals URL. And we pass in the URL string. If the URL can be converted, or if the string can be converted into a URL, then that URL string will be assigned to the URL string on line 37. If it cannot be converted, then we just exit the function. If everything went okay, we then enter into a task, and then we perform an asynchronous network request to download the image, which is this image here. Let data underscore, the underscore represents a response, but we're not dealing with a response at the moment. Equals try await URL session dot shared data from URL. So line 45 will perform the network request using the URL session on the provided URL. If let UI image equal to UI image data, so we pass in the data of the image that we captured on line 45 and then convert it into a UI image. And then the loaded image variable will contain a reference of the UI image after we pass it to an image. UI image, UI image. So now we have our image to be displayed within our view, within our Z stack. We also need to capture any errors that could happen, so we have to use a catch block and then just print it, but really it should be like throwing the error to the main view. So that the error bubbles up. Image load is failed. But if you want to see how to do proper error handling, check out the rest of my videos. Localized description. Now just compile it. Compile. The next file we need to create is our events list view model. The purpose of our events list view model is to display the actual events or to retrieve the actual events from the data layer. It will retrieve events such as the event time, the date, and if it's a payable or free event, and the venue of the event. So now let's create a new file. Which is a Swift file. And then let's call the file event list view model. In later tutorials, we'll also neaten up the file structure and put each of the files into their right folders, such as view, folder, view model, models. But now let's just focus on creating the actual event list view model. Import observation. Import SwiftUI at main actor to ensure that all the UI updates happen on the main thread. At observable. So observable will make the class reactive so that the UI displays the updated information. Final class event list view model. You don't have to use final, it just means that we're not using inheritance, but you don't really have to put final there if you don't want to. Event list view model. So that's the name of our class. Next thing we need to do is to create an array. Our array will hold a list of room events. At the moment it's empty. Var error object, which is optional. And that will be used to show any errors on the UI. Var success message string private let event service protocol, and that is a service responsible for fetching events using dependency injection. Since we're using dependency injection, we need to pass it in with our init method or initializer. Event service protocol, equals event service. Self.event service equals event service. And the protocol, the initializer will also enable mocks to be tested this way when doing testing. We need to create another variable, which is a set var event status or statuses. Which is using the set It's using the set data structure, and then this set will hold a list of event statuses that will not be duplicated, so they'll all be unique. And statuses could include things like upcoming events, completed events. We also need to create tabs for the UI, which is an array of string. And actual tab captions will come from our event statuses. But since the event statuses, since it's a set, we need to convert it into an array, and then we sort it in alphabetical order. We need to create another function that's called filtered events for selected tab. And this will return a room event array. Return events dot filter eventing event dot status lowercase is equal to selected tab dot lowercase. And then the next thing we need to do is create another synchronous method. This method is called load events. Using await, perform, and then we fetch the event using the service events, await self dot event service, fetch events from our data layer, And then the next thing we need to do is to update the tab status based on the loaded events. Self.update event statuses. That function doesn't exist, so we need to create it. Self.success message equals nil. Have to clear any existing success messages. So now we need to create that method, which is update event statuses. Self.event statuses equals set self.event compact map for the 0 status capitalizes each of the statuses in the array. And then what else do we need? I don't know why line 41 is an error. Await perform. I'll pause the video and see if I can fix it. I know what the problem is now, just forgotten. I thought perform was in sync and await, but it's not. I have to create the function myself. So yeah, we need to create the function called perform. The purpose of perform is to handle the results of a asynchronous operation and map any errors that the application may have, and then return any of those errors as an error object. That's the purpose of perform. So let's create that function now. Private func perform operation at escaping sync throws void. Let's compile it. Do try await. and then you need operation, so the purpose of operation is to clear any previous errors if the operation succeeds. We also need a catch block to handle any network errors. Self.error equals network error dot to error object. Then we create another catch block. Self.error equals error object. And with this error object, we just pass the error such as unexpected error, and then error dot localized description, and the type of error is unknown. The next function we need to create is system for error type, which is symbol for error type. And the purpose of this function is to display a symbol that relates to the error. And we're returning a string because we're just returning the symbol name. So if the error was to do with offline, then we would return the symbol, the system image name for Wi-Fi.slash. Or if the error was to do with server, then we would return an exclamation mark dot triangle if the error was an error, then we just return exclamation mark dot cloud dot fill. If the error was invalid response, then return string would be question mark dot folder. If the error was to do with unknown, then we just return question mark dot diamond. There's a few mistakes. So on line 74, there should be full stop before error, and on line 72, there should be a colon after server. Let's compile it. In next week's tutorial, we will start to add our event cards, as you can see on the screen here. So you can slide from one event card to the next. And that's for next week's tutorial. Don't forget to subscribe for more Swift and SwiftUI tutorials.